Hello, in this video I'm gonna show you how I turn this into this. I always focus on these steps, which I will explain and develop further. First, there has to be an idea, a concept that I follow, and it is very important to prepare reference pictures beforehand, so never miss this part. I've collected a bunch of pictures which will apply to each of the elements on the list. My idea was to create a warrior who most likely had a serious combat, and I needed to show the aftermath of this. That's why I wanted to imply it on the character as well as on the background. The composition of the portrait is often very simple because the main focal point is the face and hands. When it comes to mood, which is the whole vibe of the scene, I thought about 3 settings. I used these pictures as my references. I thought about setting the character indoors, but I wanted to keep the dynamic look of the hair flow and the wind will work inside. This is why I also quit the idea of the rain, where there's usually no shadows or dramatic lighting, which I'm such a big fan of. Here I'm using my 3D softwares to create a scene which will help me with the lighting because I want it to be accurate. I'm using Dust 3D to pose and Blender to render the scene. I was eventually left with the idea of some type of battlefield during the sunset, and I wanted to put some destroyed houses and smoke in the background because it would fit very well to the mood of the illustration. The character design should be cohesive and consistent with the environment. That's why I can put her in any modern clothes. That wouldn't make any sense, am I right? There has to be few features that would show the narrative and personality of the character. My idea was to show some scars and tense look on her face, with shining sweat and slightly ajar lips, which implicate the fatigue after the battle. The blood stains on her face, clothes, and blade will be a good addition. Everything I paint has to make sense and always has to have an answer. Whatever I get rid of or alter affects the story of the picture. I pay special attention to face expression. When it comes to my workflow, I experiment with color schemes by making a layer with a color blending mode. The part of fixing the colors takes a lot of time for me. I sometimes change the blending mode of certain parts 20 times until I get what I'm satisfied with. I make a black layer on top of everything to turn it on and off during the work just to check the values. I also recommend to often zoom out while painting, not to get lost in the details and get a wider view of the composition. That's why I tend to save the picture, send it to my other device to check the colors, contrast, etc. The last part is, of course, rendering. So enjoy the process of me rendering it and polishing for another few hours, which is sped up to a few minutes. here are the last touch-ups and adjustments, and I hope this was at least a little insightful and maybe some of you find it useful and helpful in the future work. Thank you so much.